Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Welcome to Pasadena Jewish Temple and Center. We are delighted you're here to celebrate Shabbat with us, and I know many of you are also here to celebrate a wonderful milestone in the Mendel family, our good friend Emmett celebrating becoming Bar Mitzvah. And so that means that he's going to be leading some prayers and stuff tonight. So I, however, will be calling page numbers, and Cantor Ruth will be singing wonderfully and leading you all in music. That brings me to a special PSA, a public synagogue announcement, and that is that this is a musical community. And we like to sing, we like to make music here. We really like it when you make music. And you may say, Rabbi, I can't make music, I'm on mute. Sometimes that's when I make my best music, when I think nobody can hear me. So if at any point you want to sing along with us, please do. If you don't know the words, hum along with us. If you want to tap on your table, take out your trombone, you do you. Even if we can't hear you, we can feel you, and you will have a better experience with this. So please join us in making music. Also, I should let you know that we are praying out of a prayer book. When I call page numbers, it will be out of this book, the Siddur Sim Shalom for Shabbat and Holidays. If you don't have this and you're on Zoom, there's a link to a virtual version of this in the chat. So with that, I would like us to welcome in Shabbat by welcoming in Shabbat's agents, Shabbat's angels. We have this wonderful traditional song we like to start with. We say, hello, angels, shalom aleichem, peace be upon you, and come on in, bless us, and when you depart, depart in peace. And so that we go into more detail on that on Shalom Aleichem, which can be found on page 13, and it goes a little something like this.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Yasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Mochem L'Shalom, Malachei Yashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei Amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Baruch Hu L'Shalom, Malachei Yashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei Amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Techem L'Shalom, Malachei Yashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei Amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Together.
As we increase the music in our space, we are also increasing the light in our hearts, and we represent this with the Shabbat candles. We're going to go to the chapel where the candles are going to be lit by Marge Levin, the grandmother, grandmother Shana. Shana is going to light candles. We have Peter and Ellie and Emmett doing the candle blessing, and there's going to be a lot of traditional stuff this evening. Sometimes things aren't traditions unless someone starts them. And so a wonderful tradition that we've begun here is people sharing the story of their candlesticks. And so I believe Marge is going to share the story of these candlesticks.
So Emmett, these are the candlesticks that belong to your great-great-grandmother.
Wow.
Her name was Anna Haro. She came to the United States in 1907 from the Ukraine. She was 23 years old, and she traveled with her two children, her two oldest ones, Zalman and Fegele. And Zalman had an eye infection, and she was quarantined on the way, and she was not allowed to resume her journey until he got well. So she met her husband, Alec Michael, a skilled carpenter who had come to the U.S. the year before, and they had 4 more children, 2 of whom became lawyers. She herself had been educated at a gymnasia, which is like a high school and junior college. This Kiddush cup, which I also brought, Emmett, belongs to another great-great-grandmother, Anna Lois, and the cup was a gift to her on her 50th anniversary. Anna Lois came from Lithuania in 1886 with her sister and brother-in-law. She was an orphan and began work making buttonholes at the age of 8. She herself didn't go to school, but later had 2 sons who became lawyers. She was observant and she kept kosher. So Emmett, your ancestors were very resilient people who valued hard work and education and Judaism. I'm so happy to say that you take after them.
Thank you.
And a week after we were quarantined, you set up Zoom sessions to keep in contact with your friends. You designed a website for your mom and replaced me, a retired software engineer, as the family IT expert. So our technology is in very good hands, I want to say. You worked hard on your Jewish education, and this will come to fruition shortly as you become a bar mitzvah. I am thrilled to be part of your life and to bear witness to your progress. Your cheerfulness and creativity are a gift to all of us. So I'll now light the candles. Thank you.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Yasher Koach to Emmett and Ellie and Peter and Shana and Marge for that wonderful, wonderful story. I don't meet a lot of grandmothers who are software engineers. So I'll say right now that Marge is my favorite. So with that, we are going to continue with our service. This is the first half of our service is Kabbalat Shabbat, or receiving, welcoming in Shabbat. And we do that with song, you guessed it. And the sages of Tzfat many, many years ago said, you can't just go right into Shabbat. You have to warm up to it. You have to climb out of the schmutz of the work week into the holiness of Shabbat, and they set a ladder for us of psalms and songs that we ascend by. And the first of these is L'Huna Ranana, which is on page 15.
L'Huna Ranana, L'Huna Ranana, L'Huna Ranana, l'Adonai. L'Huna Ranana, L'Huna Ranana, L'Huna Ranana, l'Adonai. Naria, Naria, Letzuri Sheinu, Nekadma Fanavet Odah. Naria, Naria, Letzuri Sheinu, Bizmirot Naria lo. L'Huna Ranana, L'Huna Ranana, L'Huna Ranana, l'Adonai. L'Huna Ranana, L'Huna Ranana, L'Huna Ranana, l'Adonai. כי אל גדול אדוני הוא מלך גדול על כל אלוהים אשר בידך. ארבעים שנה אקוד ודור ואומר עם טועי לבבם והם לא ידעו דרכי אשר נשבעתי ואפי אם יבואון אל מנוחתי. יאיר עלי 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 יאיר עלי 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 יאיר עלי 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 יאיר עלי 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 אוי עלי שירו לאדוני שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו, מסרו מיום ליום, ישועתו יספרו בגויים כבודו וכל העמים נפלאותיו כי גדול אדוני ומהולל מאוד תורהו על כל אלוהים יאיר עלי 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 יאיר עלי עלי עלי
These first two songs, the sages of Tzfat chose for us as a part of our ladder toward Shabbat. The next song is one that they composed themselves. Just as much as we love to pass our traditions from one generation to another, we do like starting new traditions. This one is merely about 500 years old. The song is L'cha Dodi, where we are personifying Shabbat and saying to Shabbat, "Come, my beloved, you are an honored guest in our homes and in our hearts. So we're going to begin Lecha Dodi actually on page 22. Page 22.
Lecha Dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Try that again. Lecha Dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela. לא תבושי ולא תקלמי, מה תשתוכחי ומה תהמי. בך יחסו עניי ימי ונבנתה, ירלתי לה לך דודי לקראת קלה בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קלה בני שבת נקבלה. והיו למשיסה שורסייך לרחקו כל מבלייך, יסיס עלייך אלוהייך כמסוס חתן על כלה הולך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה. ימין ושמאל, ימין ושמאל תפרוצי ואת אדוני תריצי. על ידי שמן פרצי ונשמחה ונגילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה. בואי ושלום עטרת ומעלה, גם בשמחה ובצולה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה. One more time together. Let's welcome Shabbat. לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה.
Our final psalm for this part of the service is a special psalm dedicated just for Shabbat. In fact, the first line is Mizmor Shir Le'yom HaShabbat. Here's a song for Shabbat, even when David was writing it many years ago. It's on page 23, and first it's going to be led by Joyce Mendel.
A song for Shabbat. It is good to acclaim Adonai, to sing your praise, exalted God, to affirm your love each morning and your faithfulness each night, to the music of the lute and the melody of the harp. Your works, Adonai, make me glad. I sing with joy of your creation. How vast your works, Adonai. Your designs are beyond our grasp. The thoughtless cannot comprehend. The foolish cannot fathom this. The wicked may flourish, springing up like grass, but their doom is sealed, for you are supreme forever. Your enemies, Adonai, your enemies shall perish. All the wicked shall crumble. But me you have greatly exalted. I am anointed with fragrant oil. I have seen the downfall of my foes. I have heard the despair of my attackers. The righteous shall flourish like the palm tree. They shall grow tall like a cedar in Lebanon. Planted in the house of Adonai, they will thrive in the courts of our God. They shall bear fruit even in old age. They shall be ever fresh and fragrant, to proclaim Adonai is just, my rock in whom there is no flaw.
Yashkoach. Well done, Joyce. And now, as you can probably guess, we have a song about that too. And so we turn to the phasing page where the same meaning and the same words in a slightly different language are sung as Mizmor Shir Le'yom HaShabbat. Please join us.
מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני ולזמר לשמך עליון ולזמר לשמך עליון. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני ולזמר לשמך עליון ולזמר לשמך עליון. להגיד בבוקר חסדך באמונתך בלילות, עלי עשור ועלי נבל, עלי היגיון וכינור. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני ולזמר לשמך עליון ולזמר לשמך עליון. כי שימחתני אדוני בפועלך, במעשה ידך, במעשה ידך ארנן. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני ולזמר לשמך עליון ולזמר לשמך עליון. מה גדלו מעשיך אדוני, מאוד עמקו מחשבותיך. מה גדלו מעשיך אדוני, מאוד עמקו מחשבותיך. יא לה 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 מזמור שיר ליום השבס, טוב להודות לאדוני ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך
Shabbat Shalom once again. If you're just joining us, we're glad to have you here at Pasadena Jewish Temple and Center. However you are getting here, if you're in the chapel, if you're in the social hall like I am, if you are on Zoom or Facebook or StreamSpot or YouTube, wherever you're coming from, you are in the right place, and we're delighted to be celebrating this Shabbat and this Simcha with you. Before we go on to the Mariv portion of our service, I want to share a few brief words of Torah on this parsha, Parashat Naso. But first, I want to talk about textiles. I know. So, I've been thinking about tapestries lately. I don't know why. Sometimes I think about tapestries, and I'm not a weaver myself. But what's always fascinated me about tapestries is the artwork that you see, and especially in those with really fine detail. You know, you see this little thread of gold here, just kind of pops up for a second, right? Or a little thread of blue, and all these little threads that you only see like an inch or a half an inch or a millimeter of that thread. But for it to get there, and any weavers can correct me on this, I imagine it has to be woven into the entire tapestry. Right? It has to be there from the beginning or someplace well in advance of where you see it, and then it disappears. But it continues as a part of the tapestry for some time. That's how it stays stuck. Otherwise, you just pull that and it comes right out. I don't suggest that, but that's how tapestries are made, is that something that seems to be so integral to the picture only appears for a second of its existence. And I was reading this book this week, not a Jewish book, but bear with me, called The Ministry for the Future. And I know not everybody likes books. I do, not bragging. But this is a fictional book. It's a speculative fiction. It's essentially how the next 30 years may go in sort of a dramatic account, based on what we know and what we think about climate change right now. And in ways people are talking about how things might get out of hand, well, this book assumes that they get out of hand in a very dramatic way. And how do people, individuals, governments, markets, bankers, farmers, fishers, Arctic scientists, how do all these different people deal with this, and how does the next 30 years play out? And it's got some compelling narrative in there maybe even a love story or two, but every once in a while it'll have these little digressions into various ideas of philosophy, sociology, literature. And I'm going to tell you the last one I expected to hear was this brief discourse on the idea of the Lamed Vav. Like I said, not a Jewish book, but they bring this idea from the Jewish tradition, saying that we have this tradition that that the entire world is sustained at any given moment because of the existence of the tzadikim nistarim, of the Lamed Vav, of these 36 people who are fully righteous, and based on their virtue, based on their actions in the world, the entire world is kept afloat. The trick is, nobody knows who they are, and they maybe don't even know who they are. What we do know about them is that they're so humble that none of them think they are one of the 36. And if you thought you were one of the 36, and certainly if you started bragging about it, that's proof that you're not one of the 36. I think I know one of them. I've met this wise rabbi friend and colleague. I won't name his name because he gets embarrassed every time I say this. I always say, I'm pretty sure this guy is a Lamed Vavnik. And every time I say it, he says, no, I'm not a Lamed Vavnik. And I'm saying that's just what a Lamed Vavnik would say. So the reason they brought this is the notion that in the great unfolding collective challenge of how our climate will be sustained, don't look to the comic heroes. Don't look necessarily to the people who are always heroes from birth till death their entire life. If you look at history, if you look at family histories, great moves are made because ordinary people step in for a time and shine, and then step back in humility to go about their lives. These are the 36. These are those golden threads that flash in a tapestry. And I say this to clarify a point that's in our Torah portion this week, and it's not what Emmett's going to talk about, so I'm not spoiling anything. It talks about the law of the Nazir, the person who takes an oath to not drink wine and to not cut their hair, and then the Haftarah goes on to tell the beginning of this very dramatic story, very cinematic Cecil B. DeMille story of Samson and Delilah. But you don't even get to that part. It just talks about Samson's parents, basically. But what's not clear from how the Torah recounts this, or in the story of Samson, who is a lifelong Nazir, is that most Nazirites weren't. When they discuss the law of the Nazir in the Talmud, they say, this oath that you take to abstain from strong drink and to not cut your hair, that's not a lifetime gig. Judaism doesn't have monks, per se. A few people act that way, but we're not encouraging it. Right? These people take this oath because they say, I have a particular holy task to fulfill. And for now, I'm going to set aside worldly things. I'm going to set aside my own vanity. I'm going to let my hair grow wild. I'm going to, say no to a few parties because I've got important work to do. And then I'll get back to it. And they said the typical Nazirite vow was 30 days. And I say this just in case any of you are wondering whether great work takes lifelong dedication. Not to diminish people out there who I see and know have dedicated their life to science, to the arts, to helping people. But I'm talking to the people who think, well, if I'm not one of these people, I can't help. I didn't go to grad school for that. Who am I to step up? Who am I to see a problem that needs solving and do my best? And if I do, does that ruin my life forever? Do I not get to go back home to my family or to my friends? If I stick my neck out, does that change me forever? And the story of the Nazir and the story of the Lamed Vav says no. So, if anybody out there thinks that they're not important enough to make a difference, there is no, just hear this from me, there is no unimportant thread in the tapestry. Yarn was expensive back then. God didn't make any extras of us. Everybody has their place, whether it's to shine for a moment, whether it's to be the support fabric that holds the rest of it together. Every single one of you is a part of this tapestry. There is no unimportant thread. And if you think it might be your time to shine, but you don't know if you're a shining person, you have my permission. You have my blessing, and you have my strong urging. If you feel like it's your time to shine, you feel like it's your time to do something and then return home, It's your time. Shabbat Shalom, and thank you for joining us here at PJTC. We're going to continue with our Mariv service on page 28, which I believe our good friend Emmett is going to lead the Barhu by turning around and facing the ark. The rest of us will rise and face the ark with you, and we will have the Barhu on page 28.
Baruch et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach leolam vaed.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach leolam vaed. Umavir yom umevi laila umavdil ben yom uven laila Adonai tzeva'ot shemo El chai v'kayam tamidim loch alenu leolam vaed. Baruch atah Adonai
Baruch Baruch Shemo.
Hamariv Aravim.
Amen. You may be seated if you wish. We have just blessed God for the light that God puts in our lives. Now we're going to bless God for God's constant love on Ahavat Olam on page 29.
אהבת עולם בית ישראל עמך אהבת עמך אהבת תורה ומצוות חוקים ומשפטים אותנו לימדת אותנו לימדת על כן אדוני אלוהינו ושוכבנו ובקומנו נשיח מחוקיך ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו ובהם נגע יומם ולילה נגע יומם ולילה ואהבתך לתסיר ממנו לעולמים ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל אוהב עמו ישראל.
Amen. We return to the chapel where Emmett will lead us in the Shema.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ושוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך.
We continue at our own pace at the bottom of page 30, and we'll get back together in just a moment. hashamayim al haaretz. We join together at the top of page 31, page 31.
Vayomer Adonai el Moshe lemor, daber el bnei Yisrael, v'marta lehem, v'asu lahem tzitzit. Al kanfei v'gdihem ledorotam, v'natnu al tzitzit. Hakanaf b'tit achelet, v'haya lachem letzitzit. Uritem ato, uschartem et kumizvot Adonai, vasitem otam, velo taturu, acharei levavchem, v'acharei nechem, asher atem zonim achareihem. Leman tiskeru, vasitem et kumizvotai, v'hitem kedoshim lachem. Ani Adonai Elohim. Asher hotziתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם אלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
אמת ואמונה כל זאת הקיים עלינו, כי אדוני אלוהינו.
We continue on page 32, page 32. We bless God for God's love. We bless God for God's light. Now we bless God for God's redemptive nature, for answering us when we call. And by doing that, we quote an example, singing a passage from the song at the sea, Mi Chamocha, when we get down to the bottom of page 32.
Let's then join together. Middle of the page. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה. מלכותך ראו בניך בוקר היום לפני משה ומרים. זה לי, אנו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך, אדוני ימלוך, לעולם ועד. ונאמר, כי פדה אדוני את יעקב, וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל.
Amen. We turn to page 33. Page 33. It is my honor to call on Uncle Rob Mendel to lead us in the Hashkivenu on page 33.
Help us, Adonai, to lie down in peace and awaken us again, our sovereign, to life. Spread over us your shelter of peace. Guide us with your good counsel. Save us because of your mercy. Shield us from enemies and pestilence, from starvation, sword, and sorrow. Remove the evil forces that surround us. Shelter us in the shadow of your wings, O God, who watches over us and delivers us, our gracious and merciful ruler. Guard our coming and our going. Grant us life and peace now and always. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Praised are you, Adonai, who spreads the shelter of peace over us, over all his people, Israel, and over Jerusalem.
Yashkach, Uncle Rob, if you'll turn to page 33, the other page 33 in the prayer book, we're going to sing the same prayer, Hashkivenu. Please join us.
השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, לשלום, והעמידנו מלכנו לחיים. ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך, ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך. Amen. Shelter us beneath thy wings, O Adonai. Guard us from all harmful things, O Adonai. Keep us safe throughout the night, till we wake with morning's light. Keep us, God, wrong from right. Amen. 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 Amen.
Amen. We continue at the top of page 34, page 34.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת. We join together. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולמו. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש.
We turn to the chapel where Emmett will lead us in the Hatzi Kaddish in the middle of page 34.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה,
אמן.
ואלמד דברי קירותי, ואמליך מלכותי, בחייך וביומך ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בגלה בגלה ובזמן קריב, ואמרו
אמן.
יהי שמי רבה מבורך, לעולם עולמי עולמיה, יתברך, יתברך וישתבח, יתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתהלל ויתהלל, שמי קודשה,
בריחו.
לעילה מן כל ברכתה, בשירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דמירן בעלמה, ואמרו
Amen. We rise for the Amidah for Shabbat evening on page 35b, page 35b. In the evening, this is a silent or a private Amidah, which means you can lean on the words of our tradition. They are strong. They will support you. It's also a moment to add any personal prayers of your heart. That's appropriate too. So we're going to take a moment for quiet, private meditation, and we'll get back together in just a couple of moments. When you are finished with your own prayer, feel free to be seated.
הוא לרצון אמרי פי והגיון ליבי לפניך אדוני צורי וגואלי אמן. עושה שלום שלום במרומיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל. עושה שלום שלום במרומיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. ועל כל יושבי תבל
We conclude the Amidah with a Kaddish Shalem on page 48. Page 48.
Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabba.
אמן.
Belma divrak yirte, yamlich malchute. Bechayachon uvyamachon uvchedecho beit Yisrael. Bagalav izman kari ve'imeru.
אמן.
Yehei shmei Rabba mevorach. La'alam ol me'omaya. Yitbarach. Yitbarach v'yishabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitraman v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yithaleh v'yitalal shmei dekudesha.
בריחו
Le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechamata. Tamiran be'alma ve'imeru.
אמן.
Titkabasa ton ravoton. Decho Yisrael. Kadama v'hon divishmai ve'imeru.
אמן.
Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru.
אמן.
Ose shalom bimromav. V'yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel ve'imeru.
Amen. Yeshkoach. One of the ways we like to honor people on occasions like this is the honor of opening the Ark for the Elenu. So if you're following along in the prayer book, we're about to be on page 51. And so I'd like to call up our special Ark opener. It's my understanding that Uncle Matt Levin is there in the chapel. Is Uncle Matt there? Okay, excellent.
He's
and,
coming.
Uncle Matt is going to be opening the Ark on his own behalf, but also on behalf of Jake and Adam Levin as well. We rise and face the Ark as it is open for the Elenu on page 51.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי ארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגור עלינו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא שהוא נוטה שמיים. אל כן נקווה לך אדוני אלוהינו יראות מרב ותפארת עוזך. תמלוך עליהם אל העולם ועד, כי המלכות שלך היא, ולעולמי תמלוך בכבוד. כתלתו את דורתך אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
We remain standing as the ark is closed. Yashikoak, Uncle Matt, and cousins Jake and Adam, you may be seated. It is at moments of joy like this where we perhaps most acutely feel the absence of those who are no longer with us. In the coming week here at PJTC, we're marking the yahrzeit and the anniversary of the passing of Abraham Myers, Alvin Applebaum, Anna Helen Siegel, Anna Kahn, Anna Miller-Honig, Anna Schulman, Annie Fox, Arthur Asher Lowenthal, Barbara Greenbaum, Bernard Julius, Chaka Bortnick, or Heike Bortnick, David Brown, David Mitchell, Frederick Lindstone, Gerald Laska, Gertrude Meltzer, Gideon Hoffman, Hazel Donner, Hildegard Barati, Ida Singer, Isidore Danchik, Jack Kruger, Lee Halpert, Leo Fox, Leon Merzel, Les Berman, Lillian Pesson, Louis Harry Asher, Lynn Harris, Max Katzman, Max Siegel, Milton Kunin, Norma Loeb, Paul Benjamin Parker, Pearl Wachowski, Rachel Mandel, Rose Adelston, Samuel Ginsberg, Sandy Rombach, Sarah Cooper, Sarah Levine, Saul Shapiro, Seymour David Schilling, Stephen Jacobot, Tessie Spellman, and Zena Black. If there's another name that you'd like to lift up in honor at this time, hold their name in your heart or say their name out loud wherever you are. And I'll invite you to join me for the Mourner's Kaddish. If you are in mourning or observing a yahrzeit, please rise for the Kaddish tome on page 52. Let's pray together. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah,
אמן.
ba'alma divra kirute v'yamlich malchute, b'chayechon uvyomechon uvchaye dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uvizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehe shmei rabba mivorach le'olam ulalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekudsha brichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata damiran bi'alma v'imru amen. Yehe shlama rabba min shemaya v'chaim alenu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen.
Amen.
Oseh shalom bin Ramav, hu yaseh shalom alenu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen.
Amen.
If you're standing, you may be seated. We move from kavod to simcha. We have some presentations for our bar mitzvah. And so he's taking a little drink. Wait till the camera goes. Okay, so we're going to go to the chapel. I think there's a goodie bag around there somewhere. Look at all that great stuff, some great stuff there. So we have presentations on behalf of our USY youth group, our sisterhood, and our men's club as well. We're going to start with Ellie Mendel. Is she around here somewhere? Is going to make a presentation on behalf of our USY group.
Hi, I'm Ellie, and I'm here to speak on behalf of USY today. First, I'd like to say Mazel Tov. You did an incredible job tonight, and I'm confident you will knock it out of the park tomorrow. I know how tough it has been this past year to change your bar mitzvah date and readjust to a virtual bar mitzvah setting. But I am so proud of you for persevering through it, always with a good attitude. I personally know how hard you have worked for this moment, mostly because you've decided that 11 o'clock at night was the best time to practice Torah. But nevertheless, I'm really glad to see all that hard work pay off tonight and tomorrow. So I'm excited to present you with the B'Kol Achad, which means in one voice. It is a songbook used at USY events that you will hopefully be able to attend in the future. I know we both have had some amazing experiences at USY events, whether that be baking, learning about Jewish culture, or just getting to know new people. And I can't wait for you to be able to use your B'Kol Achad at future events. Here you go, and Mazel Tov.
Thank you.
Yasher Koach. I love that we have remote aliyot and presentations from other locations these days, but I have to tell you, I love it when it's a local call. So thank you very much, Ellie. We now go to Judy Callahan, our special guest presenter on behalf of the Sisterhood.
Emmett, it is a great honor to be able to present you with your Kiddush cup, which I believe is the big box that you have there next to you. I have known your family for a long time, and I know you come from a long line of teachers and researchers, and it appears now, having heard your grandmother, lawyers, but your family has always known that learning and knowing facts and knowing the truth is important. But what is also important is how to take these facts and truths and apply them to real life and to affect change for a better world. And you have this wonderful example from your family that you are now continuing. Having heard you daven tonight, I can't wait until tomorrow to see you become a bar mitzvah. I know you've had to go through a lot yet to this day and a lot of changes. Though I must say, having waited a year, you are definitely a lot taller than you would have been before. On behalf of Sisterhood, I'm honored to present you with this Kiddush cup. Every time you make Kiddush with your family or wherever life takes you, I hope you remember this day and how proud we are of you and all you've accomplished. Mazel tov.
Thank you.
Yasher Koach, Judy. We now go to Eric Schlecht, who has a presentation on behalf of the PJTC Men's Club.
Hi, Emmett. As Rabbi said, I'm Eric, and I'm representing the Men's Club this evening on the happy occasion of your bar mitzvah. You're doing a great job. I can see your mom and dad just smiling away back there behind you. I don't know if you can see. But we out here in Zoom country are proud also of how wonderful you're doing. I understand that you also, not only is this your bar mitzvah, but you won a math field day and AYSO soccer championship. So a triple threat. And your mitzvah project, as Judy said, appropriate for somebody from a family of teachers, you were a teacher's aide. And I hope you had fun doing that. I'm sure grading the first graders' work was interesting.
Very difficult.
Difficult. That doesn't surprise me. Cool, but you did it. Anyway, so I'm representing Men's Club. Men's Club supports the religious school as well as B'nai Simcha. I think my understanding is you went to B'nai Simcha preschool when you were a little guy. Judy didn't mention that, but yeah, my daughter did too, Abby. And of course, we also support USY, but you know that too, because back in the good old pre-COVID days, you and your sister helped us make pancakes on back to school day. And so I'm hoping that real soon now, we'll all get back and make more stacks of pancakes. So anyway, I don't know, I hope you've got it there. So we are presenting you, your gift is a yad. It's a pointer for the Torah, as you know, you'll be reading the Torah tomorrow. And the pointy end points to the words instead of your finger, so that the words on the Torah scroll will last longer than, well, say, when you become my age, that many years, hopefully a lot more. It also kind of connects you to your Torah portion. So anyway, Shabbat Shalom, Mazel Tov to you and Peter and Shana and of course Ellie, and I'll be looking forward to seeing you tomorrow morning.
Thank you.
Yash Koach, Eric. Before we end this service, as we began this service in, which means in joyful song, and I have to tell you, sometimes I see people in the Zoom dancing, and while I'm not giving out an award for best Zoom dancer, if I see you dancing, I will keep you in my prayers. So feel free to cut loose, and as we celebrate Shabbat together. Just a couple of quick personal notes. I've known Emmett for some time now. We've worked on his Devar Torah twice now for the different dates. What I didn't know was that you are a fellow math field day champion, and I'm really happy to see you represent. Go Mathletes. All right. Just a couple more things. I didn't include this in my sermon. I wanted to just say a prayer of personal gratitude for the ceasefire that I believe is holding in the land of Israel right now, and I pray that it continues. I also wanted to let you know there is we are going to have our announcements in sort of between the song and the Kiddush. You'll see some announcements on your screen. Somebody told me about something that didn't make our announcements, and there is a rally in downtown LA at the Federal Building. It is a group of many diverse groups have put this together. It's called United for Peace, a rally uniting in solidarity for peace in Israel. It's going to be on Sunday at 11 a.m. downtown LA at the Federal Building, and I just wanted to pass that along to you. So with that, we are going to end this service as we began in joyful song. It sounds better when you sing along with us, and you sing better when you're standing up, so I invite you to please rise as we close with this song. And stick around for Kiddush, would you?
This song, praying for peace as usual, perhaps a little stronger tonight. Let's join together. Od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Salam aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam shalom. Salam aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam shalom. Od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Together, salam aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam shalom. Salam aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam shalom. Shabbat shalom.
Good Shabbos, everybody. We're going to roll the announcements here in a second so you can see all the wonderful things that are going on in this community. Feel free to connect with us during the week if you want more information or a Zoom link to any of those things. In the meantime, go grab a glass of wine, a cup of juice, a schnifter of schnapps. Anything you celebrate with is okay, and meet us right back here for Kiddush. All righty.
Okay, people, there in the chapel, we have the honor to have the father of the groom lead us in Kiddush.
Not quite
get
yet,
ahead of
Cantor.
yourself.
Yeah, don't get ahead of yourself.
I know, just kidding. Go for it.
ויהי ערב ויהי בוקר יום השישי, ויחולו השמיים והארץ וכל צבאם. ויחל אלוהים ביום השביעי מלאכתו אשר עשה, וישבות ביום השביעי מכל מלאכתו אשר עשה. ויברך אלוהים את יום השביעי. ויקדש אותו כי בו שבת מכל מלאכתו אשר ברא אלוהים לעשות. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם בורא פרי הגפן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר קידשנו במצוותיו ורצה בנו. בשבת קודשו באהבה וברצון הנחילנו זיכרון למעשה בראשית. כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים. כי בנו בחרת, ואותנו קידשת, מכל העמים, בשבת קודשך, באהבה וברצון, הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני, מקדש השבת.
לחיים.
לחיים.
All right, if it's your custom to wash before motzi, now's a good time to do that. If you prefer, I'll be thinking of you while I do it. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al netilat yadayim.
Amen.
Amen.
And I understand you have a super beautiful challah right there. We're going to go to the chapel. There you go. Okay, people.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
Amen. Shabbat shalom. Mazel
Shabbat
tov.
shalom, everybody.
Shalom.
If you're joining us from YouTube or Facebook or StreamSpot, thank you so much for being here, and we'll see you tomorrow, 9:30 sharp, as we